Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Championship Rounds podcast. Quite a bit to catch up on this week and talk about, so we'll get straight into it. Um, we'll start on Saturday. In Japan, in Osaka, Angelo Leo defeats Tomoki Kameda to retain the IBF title at 126 pounds in a fight I think he made a bit harder than he needed to. I thought he won the fight. I've seen a couple of people saying that Tomoki won. I think he didn't win the fight. I thought Leo took a close-ish decision, sort of 7-5, 8-4, so it was pretty clear enough. But I think he made the fight a lot harder than he needed to.
Like it was kind of. I think it was kind of Kameda that made the fight because he was working the body pretty well, and I think that slowed him down. That made him hold his feet, and I guess inactivity as well. I would say play a part because like Leo seems like a fighter that needs to be active. He's one of
I
those type of fighters.
I was gonna say he just looked really rusty, to be honest.
Like for the first 4 rounds, he looked really good. Like his jab was good. His left to the body was good. He looked like Angelo Leo. Then he kind of, gassed, I guess, a bit.
It's just been a while.
I think he
Right.
gassed and he also stopped running a jab as much, and that was a mistake. He needed to keep pumping that jab out, and he just didn't.
The problem that he had was like his left-sided offense was good, but there wasn't much coming from the right. There's only so much you could do at this level with just one hand, especially if you're not elite. And his body work, it didn't really slow down Kameda either, which was a problem. Like I never thought he would stop Kameda. Kameda's always shown a pretty good chin.
If you're a Kameda, you just have a good chin, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's just that he was a champion 10 years ago. Like he's way past his prime, and I guess it's not great that you had a really close fight with Kameda, but you can chalk it down to activity, and well, that's probably like the best fight Kameda's fought in a long time. Like when do you ever see Tomoki Kameda fight as disciplined as he did? Then never. I know he's just. I guess that was just like his last chance. He had a really good performance. He fell short, but he knew that was his last chance probably. And if he didn't get it, then he's not going to get another shot.
He's probably done.
Like it looked like he still have stuff left, like to give, but it's hard to tell really whether that was just a last go. He just left everything else he had in the ring there, or he does have stuff left. Probably,
But,
yeah.
Nobody's gonna give him a voluntary. Like, he's relatively unknown in the markets where the champions are, sort of the UK and the US. He had a few fights in the US a decade ago that nobody really knew about. He's 34, going to be 35 soon. Yeah, I think he's done. I think he had a good career, but I think he's done on a good performance. Hasn't taken too much damage, and he's already been promoting guys as well. So I think he'll be done after that. It's a good performance to go out on, like you say.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. He could have. I guess he could have got dominated, or he could have got knocked out and stopped. For the first time in his career, ending his career on a stoppage loss. No fight wants to do that. I've seen some people change their thoughts on Leo based on that fight. I haven't. He's just he's just still the same fighter that he always is to me. Like, he's a boxer who can fight on the inside, but is better as a boxer. I see people picking like Nick Ball. I see people picking like Nick Ball to beat him. Like, I guess it depends. Like, it depends. I think he struggles on the inside if someone initiates the inside fighting like Kameda did, or like a Fowen did, or like a Nick Ball would. I think he's very comfortable on the inside when he's the one dictating that type of fight. So I would recommend him to box against Nick Ball.
But for people, but you're talking about Fulton and you're talking about Kameda. They've got educated foot pressure. Nick Ball just jumps and runs at you. He's just not educated enough to the pressure's just not educated enough to get near Leo. I don't think. I think Leo just sits on the back foot and pot shots him. Sort of how obviously it's different. Like, they're different fighters, but like, look at the way sort of Ladumir Lamate early on and Ray Vargas early on were like just totally making Ball look silly with his footwork. Like, I just don't think. I really think Ball's not very good. Like, he's a in terms of world championship caliber, I don't think he's very good. Obviously, that's relative, and I just don't think his feet are good enough to beat Leo. He's just going to get outboxed.
I think, like, with him, because like he puts so much pressure on you, I think it does tire fighters out. I know, like, all of his opponents have had like an asterisk on them, but I mean, they do get tired and they do kind of like not fold under the pressure, but cave in and kind of end up fighting him rather than boxing him. And I guess we did kind of see Leo do that, and it wasn't really either to do with the pressure either, just body shots. And I'm sure, like Ball, he would land a few here and there, and the pressure as well.
Yeah,
I'm definitely pick Agile Leo to beat Nick Ball, but I wouldn't like rule him out, especially if it's an inactive Leo. Like, if he's active, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick him. Like, he's just better. Although the better fight doesn't. Yeah, the better fight doesn't always win, but no, I'd pick him because he's the better fighter.
Better fighter in this case.
Go on, Sarge.
No, I was just saying that the better fighter would win in this case. I agree. Nick Ball is not very good, and he's not very good against people who he should be knocking out, like, easily. Not struggling and going life and death with, like a Ronnie.
I mean, you might not want him to get a title shot, or maybe shouldn't get one because he just lost in a title fight. But if Kameda does have anything left, it could be an interesting test for Nick Ball.
I don't think they make that fight.
I don't think they would.
I
but
don't really care about it. I don't care for it, really.
It could be an interesting test.
Apparently, they're going to announce a netball fight in the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be a former. It's going to be like Danny Roman or something.
Look, if they want to fight in a way, it better not be Mirko Cuellar, because Cuellar will stop him. But yeah, the activity thing with Leo, going back to that point, like, if you look up to the sort of few months leading up to the Lopez fight, he fights Polanco in November 23, then Plania in January, Baez in April, and then Luis Alberto Lopez in August. Like, that's 4 fights in about 8-9 months. Like, and then he has, like, in that sort of the next sort of 8 months up until this point, 8-9 months, he's not fought. So he's gone from fighting 4 times in that period to fighting once. It's like he needs to be active, and a lot of that's on the Kamedas, a lot of that's on Top Rank, a lot of that's on Pro Box. Like, it's just been a mess. This whole fight has like we said it last week. He's been messed about a lot, and I just hope he gets active. Like he can sell tickets in New Mexico, and if you're not gonna throw him straight into a Espinoza fight, if you're top ranked, just get him a defense quickly. You can get him out. It's late May now. You can get him out in early September. You can get him out in late August in Albuquerque. Try and do that.
Yeah, like he needs to be active. I mean, like it was a close fight. I mean, he didn't take like loads of punishment. Although he did say that Kameda hits harder than he expected, so maybe that we've got to factor that in as well
I think
with his performance.
there was a bit of sweating over his eye, but it wasn't too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? But yeah, it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. And yeah, it's the same story with Kameda, man. Kameda, he did the same with Lamini in the first fight. Like, just started a bit too late, and a lot of that was down to Leo. But yeah, if Kameda, it's just a matter of if you start that work in sort of round 3 or 4 instead of round 5 or 6, like you might be able to net that fight. But yeah, it was a good fight. Anyway, moving on. The chief support. It's a bit weird talking about right now with Jinjiro. He's in hospital. We don't know what's happening. But it looked very, very bad at the end of that fight. For those who didn't watch it, the fight went to the cards. Jinjiro looked like he had been in a tough physical fight, but didn't look overly bad for someone in that situation as the decisions got read. Then, as sort of Talaran's being given the belt by whoever's handing out the belt and, all that sort of stuff, he sort of goes back to his corner and collapses. He starts sort of shaking a little bit. He loses consciousness and eventually gets carried out the ring and the arena on a stretcher and was taken straight to hospital. Really quite disturbing to watch. It really wasn't nice to see that. And obviously with the added context of what happened last year against Tadaran, like it's really, really not good. But yeah, we just hope that he's okay. That was just horrific to see. But,
This one looked worse as well, I think, than last time. Because it's added on more damage from the beating he took in the first fight.
More rounds.
Yeah, like 3 more rounds. Like he didn't take anywhere near the amount of damage he did in the first fight, but he still took a good amount of punches, and that has an effect. I'd be happy if he retired, to be honest. Right, if you're like getting stretched out in back-to-back fights, ish, sort of, then you don't need to. That's a risk you don't need to take.
Yep. In terms of the actual fight, I just think Jinjiro had success boxing, but ultimately, when he was on the back foot, he just had nothing in his shots, and Tadaran looked so much bigger, so much stronger, and just so much more physically dominant, and it was just one of those fights where Tadaran had much more on his shots and was so much stronger and was bullying Jinjiro in clinches and sort of using somewhat dirty tactics like punching and holding a little bit, but that was like it was just it just looked like someone that was bigger, stronger, and hit harder, just drowning someone that was trying to box.
It's like a visual thing. Like I think like Shigeoka landed more, but like from the looks of the fight, I mean, it just looked like a man bullying a kid. To be honest, like Tadaran, he didn't even look even as close as good as he did in the first fight. Like he did struggle to land that right hand, like compared to how he was doing in the first fight. Obviously, he didn't. He had a moving target this time. But, I mean, he did have a moving target that wasn't moving to the left. Wait, left, right, right. He was moving to the right. He should be moving to the left. You don't move into the power hand.
Especially Tataran, who actually is a hard puncher.
Yeah, and like that's his punch. His punch is the left. Imagine how much harder he would have found it to land if Shigeoka's moving the opposite direction to that left hand.
Yeah, he just made it way too easy for him.
Like, and he's like so straight up, and it's a target, and it's pretty easy to hit him, even though he made it harder. Yeah, like it was close, but I think he like just. I say on my card he nicked it. I know on Tucker's card it was a bit wider.
I had it 8-4.
I had it 7-5. He had the right game plan. Like you said, like the problem is with you saying that if a more confident, if like the Shigeoka from the first fight for that fight he'd win. The problem is like a more confident Shigeoka doesn't fight like that.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he executed the game plan like pretty well at points. I mean, he was outboxing him, and he looked fine doing so, but it just wasn't enough. Pretty much.
Yeah. And he panicked when he got hit a lot as well. Like that's one thing about that fight. I know you can sort of see when somebody is scared to get hit, and I thought Jinjiro was scared to get hit a lot in that fight.
Yeah, like it was in the 7th round where like things got really bad, and you thought, oh, this is the start of it. But then, like surprisingly, he came back and like composed himself for the next few rounds, got back to boxing, which I mean, I guess that was kind of good to see. I didn't think he'd be able to do that. I thought he would just collapse again.
Yeah. Yeah, but we just hope Jinjiro is okay, basically, because that was bad. The end, it's just the end of that fight was bad to see. Really, really bad to see. Especially again.
Yeah, like he might need to pack it up, and Tadaran, I don't know, whatever. Jerusalem, maybe.
Well, Gibbons has made contact with Golden Boy about a Colonzo fight already, apparently. So that's good. I hope they do that.
Yeah, just one of them. One of Jerusalem or Coyozo. It makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a decent show. You know, Osaka. Tajima also got stopped on that card, which is funny because the one heavyweight prospect that's worse than Johnny Fisher, basically. So yeah, it's a decent little card. It's on ProBox's website if you haven't seen it. So yeah, go catch up on that. We'll go to Glasgow next, I think. Because that was sort of the most high-profile fight of the weekend, probably. Yeah, Echo Essuman defeats Josh Taylor via UD. I thought the scorecards were very, very fair. Man, I was so close to picking Echo Essuman last week. I kept thinking about it. I ended up putting a bet on Essuman just on the odds because I thought this is a way closer fight than a lot of people think. Even though I thought Taylor probably might nick it, but I was sort of going back and forth. And essentially what happened in this fight was the changing point from Taylor sort of boxing like he was early on to Essuman boxing like he was in the second half happened a bit earlier than I thought it would. And I sort of saw this type of fight happening, and I thought, yeah, I sort of, from about the fifth or sixth round, I just said, yeah, like, Essuman's winning this fight. Taylor can't win it. Essuman's just too big, too strong. And he's just relentless, man. It's hell to fight him, and you need to be able to box off the back foot. And Taylor got dragged into a fight, and it was never going to go well. Him getting dragged into a fight like that.
The Engine is a pretty fitting nickname.
Yep.
It's Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like some Essuman up was like he got hurt
Bad.
and then like he came back and hurt Josh Taylor in the same round. I mean that pretty much sums Essuman up, I'd say, especially in that fight. I'm like Taylor. I mean, he started the fight really well and he looked really good, and then when you hurt him, you thought, oh well, damn, he's like rejuvenated. He's back to 2018 Josh Taylor.
Yeah, the commentary was like, oh, is the Josh Taylor old? And then the middle rounds happened. I was like, about that.
And then, yeah, I mean, Essuman did to Josh Taylor what Josh Taylor did to everyone else, I guess, at 140. Well, not everyone else. Not Jack Harrell. Everyone else. I mean, he definitely felt Essuman's power. And once he got hurt, I mean, he became pretty wary.
And he kind of just packed it in. He just stopped throwing anywhere near as many punches as you did in the first couple rounds.
I mean, it's like what he did against Carroll. Like, started just sound the ropes, pretty much, for a lot of the fight.
So I don't think he has it in him. Like, I just don't think he's had such a long career. Like, people forget about Josh Taylor. Like, he was on GB for a long time. He went to the 2012 Olympics. He won the 2014 Commonwealths. He had a good amateur career as well. Like, he was in an international amateur for a long time. He's had a lot of tough fights early, like even before he won titles, sort of O'Hara Davis. It was like a named fight, Victor Postel, Ryan Martin. Then, like, all these fights and boiling himself down that long, and all of these fights were tough. Like, well, O'Hara wasn't tough, but a lot of these fights were very, very tough fights. And
yeah, in his prime, these fights you're talking about are like 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then like all of those fights were compared. Like, if you look at the Super Series run, Baranchik, like even though he won the Baranchik fight clearly because of the knockdowns, like that was a tough, close, competitive fight, and Baranchik. That was a prime Baranchik who, in his prime, is a tough, physical, sort of strong guy, and then Prograis as well. And then you got Jose Ramirez, a tough, physical, strong guy. Like, it's just been a really, really rough career. Like, and
on top of his clearly
yeah,
drained body near the end.
I mean, look at if you looked at the size in that ring, and you got told one of these kids has moved up from 140, you'd think it was Essuman. Like, Taylor was so much longer and so much, like, he looks massive, and you can't keep draining yourself like that. And there's no secret, he has not lived the life, and that catches up to you, especially against big, strong, physical guys that can punch relatively hard, but they're strong and they're volume and relentless, and it's just, yeah, and it caught up to him, and it's been catching up to him for a while, and it's just what happens to those sorts of fighters. And when you're blowing up as much as he does, is there really that big a difference between 140 and 147? Like, in terms of how much you're having to cut? Like, it's a stupid question, really, because it's like £7, but when you're cutting sort of 25 pounds anywhere, Is there really that big a difference between 18 and 25 pounds? Like, really?
He did look a bit sunken at the weigh-in. Like, his face looked skinny. Not as skinny, but you can tell he cut quite a bit of weight. Which, makes sense. But, like, when you get to the point of your career where you don't have reflexes to move out of the way of any Echo Essuman right hand, then I think you know the answer. Well,
You don't have
it's over.
devastating power to like offset that either.
I mean, like, he just didn't have it in him. Like, even like back in, I don't even think like he has it like in him and it's hard anymore. Back in the day, if he had a fight like that, he would have dug deep and probably got through it. I think, like he did against like Prograis, but he just didn't. He couldn't.
The
Or
world's
chose
right.
not to.
You can't dig deep that many times, and that's ultimately why, like, you see, we've seen it so many times. These guys that rely on being big, strong, volume guys, who are all intensity and stuff. Like, they're different fighters, but you've seen it, and they ship a lot of shots. Like Jared Hurd, Joe Joyce, like just a couple over recent years. They're big, strong guys for their weight class. I know it's like different with Joyce because he's a heavyweight, obviously, but like when the weight cuts and everything, and then there's just nothing left. And even if you are up a weight class and rejuvenated and having good camps, there's just that little bit that you can't dig out anymore, and it shows a lot, especially in fights like that. And yeah, one technical thing with Essuman I saw, like literally, I think it's from about the fourth or fifth round onwards. He worked out that every time Taylor's jabbing, he can just snap a right hand and it will land every single time because Taylor didn't move his head. Every jab Taylor threw was countered by right hand over it by Essuman and couldn't miss. And that got him a lot of success. And obviously the body work on the inside and just mauling him towards the end of that fight. And yeah, he swept every round.
Yeah, he did. I mean, maybe I think the 10th was really close. You could maybe give that to Taylor. But outside of that, yeah. I mean, from like round 6 onwards, he won like every round.
I just kind of expect him to do more in the last couple rounds. He must have known he was behind.
He just didn't have it.
He can't. I think he should retire.
Like, what's the point in continuing? What is the point? Like, is he gonna? He's gonna fight like people below Echo Essuman? Like, no.
I'll tell you what the point is.
Please don't say anything like Conor Ben.
I wasn't going to say Conor Ben, but
or Mario Barros. Well, he's gonna
not Mario Barrios. Someone's moved up to welterweight.
Jack Harrell,
they're fighting next month, or they're fighting in July. And if Harlem Eubank beats Jack Catterall, they're going to make that trilogy, and you know they are because it's British boxing, and look, both guys can get a few £100,000 out of that, and it's a big headliner. And Catterall will win that fight, and it's Catterall's back at 147, and all this rubbish. And Taylor can get a nice little retirement package out of that fight. And
it's like Jack Harrell's only entertaining fight was that second fight.
Yeah, and like we've said it multiple times. There's a void for headliners in the UK of people that are in their late 20s. There's a big void, and that leaves gaps for people like your Josh Taylors, like your Josh Warringtons, like your Anthony Kakachis and Lee Woods and Josh Warringtons and Callum Smiths and like all these guys that were pretty good fighters sort of in about 2019, 2020, 2021, that sort of time. They're still hanging around because they're saying, well, I don't have to fight anyone new. I have to fight the guys from my era. And I can get paid decent amounts for it. Yeah, not as much as I was getting 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm still getting paid a few £100,000. And I'm not exactly fighting killers. I'm fighting guys that are just as washed up as I am. And like, you might as well. And that's what Taylor's going to look at it, and he's going to think, well, he can do an arena against Catterall. It's 1-1 and it's a trilogy, and all this rubbish that they'll do to sell it. They'll get Sam Jones there screaming and shouting. They'll sell it as a Matchroom versus Queensbury fight and all that rubbish, and they'll do it. And they'll do it. And Taylor can get a lot of money out of those fights. And even if he does win Conor Ben,
I'm just so
like
tired of the gimmick fights.
yeah, he's
I know. I know it's what it is. I'm just so tired of.
I'm tired of it as well. I'm tired of it as well, but it's still the reality, and it's sad. It's a really sad reality, and I've said this multiple times.
It's exhausting because it is like on basically like the mainstream stage. Like these are like some of the more
it's exhausting,
prolific fighters of the last like 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's like 5 to 7 years ago, like, and there's no one else because the production line in the UK is just gone completely, and there's no one else going through.
And they'll just milk out all the top fighters till they're 45 too. So.
Yeah.
Look how long they're dragging Chisora and Joyce for.
Yep, and Dillian White's back, and everyone else is back, and it's just what British boxing's become over the last few years, and it's sad.
Fury's apparently back from his 27th retirement.
Yeah, well, there's money for everyone, though. There's money for these guys, and they'll take it. And I don't blame the fighters. I blame the promoters, and I blame ultimately the coaching system in the UK for not producing anyone. And that's the issue. And even when they do produce people, the promoters do such a poor job of promoting people.
One of these slow weeks, we gotta just.
I can go on for about a month. Yeah, but yeah, Josh Taylor should retire, but he won't. I'm happy for Essuman. He's been a real grinder on the scene, man. He started off in the small halls. He's won English, British, Commonwealth titles. Came up against Harry Scarf, lost that fight. I think he paid the price for staying at British level a bit too long in that fight and just came up against someone with pretty much one of the only styles that can beat Essuman. You have to be long, you have to be gangly, you have to know how to hold, and you have to be able to box him. And that's what Harry Scarf did in that fight. And it was a close fight, but Harry Scarf did enough. But yeah, I'm happy for him, and I hope he gets another big fight off the back of it, and he deserves one. And yeah, Taylor should retire, but he won't. Because there's big money fights for him. Well, not big money, but like decent money. And let's be honest, Jack Catterall's not going to hurt Josh Taylor, is he?
You hurt him in the second fight, but at this point, if they're going to fight at welterweight, then he probably won't.
He dropped him in the first fight.
Yeah, but again,
really hurt.
I mean, he was definitely hurt in the second fight.
Taylor will still get hurt, but who knows? Catterall might not be able to even land a hard punch on Eubank, even though Eubank's not that good. Well, Catterall doesn't throw hard punches like ever. But
yeah, Harlan Eubank against Josh Taylor as well. That's another option.
It's just nasty. This discourse is nasty.
I know it is, but it's the reality, isn't it?
I know. The names we're talking about are just like these are. Taylor isn't a name we should be even talking about anymore.
I agree. It's what boxing is. It's what boxing is, and ultimately he's an undisputed champion or former undisputed champion. However you want to say it. Well, yeah, Paddy Donovan or Lewis Crocker against Josh Taylor. Like the winner of that fight, if they want to keep busy fighting a big headliner and instead of fighting Ennis, these are all realities that we have to look at. Pat McCormack against Josh Taylor. There's these guys there. But yeah, it's frustrating, but it's the reality. And it's sad. Anyway, let's move on. Moses Atama knocked out a failed NFL player like we all expected.
In the funniest way possible.
Yeah, I mean he's good, but come on, all right, that's bad matchmaking. Like
especially to the level they're trying to hype him to.
I get it. Like, you're hyping him up, you're giving him opponents he's going to blow over, and it's going to go viral or something, and he's going to get more hype, more hype. But I mean, he's not learning anything from these fights. And when you actually stick him in with someone good, well, he might just fold because he doesn't know what to do.
You know what the thing is?
So,
When, like, Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean are what they are, yeah? They're gatekeeper level, fringe contender level.
like, I thought, like, those
They've
two, at least
given him the
Dempsey
most.
McKean, Dempsey McKean was fine. Like, that was fine. But a 41-year-old NFL player, where I don't even actually think he even played a single game.
So he failed NFL.
Yeah. Like, don't quote me on that. I don't watch NFL.
No one does.
But yeah, like, it's terrible. And there's a still image that I got of the final punch, the final knockdown. Like, Balogun's sprinting into range with his chin miles up in the air with both hands by his knees. It's like, seriously? Like, and this sounds like we're slagging off Atalma. Like, Atalma's a good prospect. He's a very good prospect. He's fast hands. He can punch. He's got good distance control. Doesn't fall over his shots. He's a good coordinated heavyweight prospect. But Jesus Christ, he's not that Marius fucking Dempsey McKean.
They're bringing
He's
him
not
up
that
like how they're bringing him up how they like brought Dubois, where they just given a bunch of fighters they know he'll just wipe out.
No,
And then
it's not Dubois. It's not Dubois because Dubois fought someone like Nathan Foreman. Dubois fought for domestic titles. He won an area
no, I know
title.
I'm saying before they actually gave him someone with a brain in their head. This is how it looks so far.
Yeah,
And they haven't given him a fighter like Gorman or who did he like that's probably the only like that was probably the best
Kojinu was a
like
good one for Dubois at that point.
someone to actually test anything else besides like how long they could last in the ring. Like we've established that Talma has really hard hands. We got that. Like whoopie do. Let's see if you can go around. Let's see if you can take a punch. Let's see like gotta at one of the step up fight he's gonna end up getting he's gonna get like ran into with all of that and he might not be able to figure it out.
He's 19, so cool. You're giving him development fights, but like you can't be feeding him these guys when you're calling him the next great heavyweight and saying that you're gonna break Mike Tyson's record.
Even excluding that, he's still you could tell he's better than what his age. Like he doesn't fight like he's a teenager.
Yeah, but like when you're developing a fighter, is you see how they perform against the competition you're putting them in, and then if they're excelling at that, then you up the competition to the next level. And look, he's just blowing everyone away in like 2 rounds. Like, come on, use your eyes, step up the competition. Yeah, there's
this was the step down to whatever.
Yeah, Mike Balogun is a step down from Dempsey McKean.
Multiple steps.
Like, can they not get opponents? I'm sure someone would get Chin for a good amount of money.
Where's also running at now? Like, what's he doing? He's stocks on the floor. What's Gassiev doing?
Retiring, hopefully. Otto Varnin, yeah, I think that would be a good step up.
An interesting style to have to like figure out for some rounds.
Right, because he's actually gonna have to figure out how to hit him first, because he boxes and he can box.
No, to fight a negative fighter, not someone who's just there to get chinned for something.
Yeah, like the only problem with the Valiant is I think when he feels the power, he's just gonna do what he did against AJ.
Yeah.
That's the only problem I have with him.
Oh, yeah. But he is
But-
20 at a time. Like,
But it's still a massive, massive step up. Like, this is a guy who arguably should have a win against Tyson Fury.
it's what it is. Like, I don't know what 6 months out for that. 6 months out for that crap. And that was a crap opponent. That was awful. And I said it was awful. Like you could acknowledge someone's very, very skilled as a prospect and say the matchmaking is absolutely terrible, and that was terrible. Mike Balogun, like, come on, man. Genuine question: would Mike Balogun beat Dave Allen?
No.
No. Would he beat Johnny Fisher?
I think so.
Like, it's that sort of level. You're fighting guys that Johnny Fisher would probably knock out.
Well, I mean, he won't take the fight, but sticking with Dave Allen.
It's just, I don't know. They're talking about Bacoli next. If you want that fight, sure. Like, I think Essuman probably wins that fight, but I don't think you should be fighting guys like Mike Balogun before it, to be honest. But,
Yeah, because that's the step up we're talking about. Like, what about if he, like, getting your chin tested against Martin Bacoli is not a smart idea.
yeah.
We've already seen what he's done to one prospect who is the next great American heavyweight. Now, the next best heavyweight.
Yeah.
I probably would pick Itama, mostly based off Bacoli's recent fights and that I don't trust him to be in shape. But if he's in shape,
you don't trust the Jiggles.
if he's in shape, I would not stick him in with Bacoli. And I see like people saying like, "Oh, stick him in with anyone. He's ready for anyone, even Usyk." Like, I'm like, no, he's not. He's not. Like, he's good enough, yeah, sure, but he's not ready for those guys. And though he doesn't beat Usyk to people I've seen, let's say he would beat Usyk.
But he's been 6 rounds. That's the furthest he's been, and against Dobenchenko and Espendola, and those fights, like Dobenchenko, I was ringside for that fight. Dobenchenko did not throw a punch. Like, it was a Talma sort of in first gear, throwing 1s and 2s against his guard, and Dobenchenko really not doing anything. He's in live rounds. He's gone 2 rounds against Whack, and that's it. And that fight, I guess, he hasn't really had to extend himself. And yeah, this is the thing with Itama. Like, there's so many unanswered questions. Like, he could just fall off a cliff after 5 or 6 rounds. We don't know.
He might not be able to take a punch.
Yeah, like, there's so many questions, and like, don't get me wrong, everything that you sort of can see so far looks very, very good. But there's things you haven't seen, and you need these tests, man. Like, come on, Mike Balogun. Honestly, terrible opponent. And it was terrible before it.
Even like a TKV or Solomon Dakers. I mean, they're not great, are they? But they're a step up.
They're better than those types.
Yeah, like even those guys.
And I got slagged off, by the way, for saying he should have fought Johnny Fisher last year. And he's fighting this now. Like, Jesus Christ, that was terrible.
Yeah, like, he's a great prospect. The matchmaking is not great. Well, that matchmaking was not great. I didn't really mind Dempsey McKean that much. Or Marisback, because Marisback usually can take a shot.
I'll tell you what I'd do for Itama next. They won't do it because he's got 3 losses, but I'd put him with Vianello. That's what I'd do.
I mean, they could.
They won't.
Yeah, like these are the type of fights, like
Yeah.
someone who brings something to the table, like Vinello, like he can box, and we've seen it.
And he's big and he's strong and he's fit as well.
And
Yeah.
like, even though you'll beat him, like you're gonna learn probably more from that fight than you do from every other fight. And if you take him out in a couple rounds, then yeah, fair enough. Like, but we won't know until you stick him in with those type of guys.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, we'll move on now because there's enough matchmaking to come. What was very good matchmaking apparently. Even though I sort of knew this would happen, I was sort of yeah. What a performance! What a man! What? Where's Fulton?
Oh,
Where is Fulton?
wait, what was he talking about? And I was like, oh,
Where is he?
I didn't think he did that shit. That was kind of. We said that a late stoppage would be like the second choice to like a decision for Collins, not a fourth round knockout.
Yeah,
And
I
he
have
like
had
heard
words.
him he heard him like everywhere.
You know, like sounds like I'm glazing, and I am.
You are glazing.
I am.
Premium, supreme,
But man,
gold star glaze.
he nailed McGregor with a left hand over a jab in like the first minute of the fight, and I literally turned to the person I was watching it with and said, "Yeah, this fight's over. This fight's done." Like if you let Nathaniel Collins nail you with a left hand clean that early on, like the fight's done. He's not losing, and he's brilliant, man. Like honestly, it was the angles, it was everything. It's just the aggressive counter punching.
Rick's
It's
a huge individual.
oh, it was beautiful. McGregor just so much to hit, and he was so slow coming in and countering off that jab and pivoting around, circling away, and then sort of winging in a body shot with the left hand or a sharp upstairs with the left hand. It was just it was easy. It was easy work. Oh, beautiful.
I really thought I was like semi confident on a late fight, like 10 or more rounds. And it didn't go past the first half. Or not even the first quarter. Or third.
That's what I see in the gym a lot. And that's what I see. That's what I've seen on the shows that nobody was at, and the small hall shows and everything, and like that. There was issues that he'll tell you himself eventually. There's been issues around him for a while for the Miller fight and the Grandelli fight, and there was a lot of issues, and he almost died because of those issues after the Grandelli fight, and there was a point where he was almost definitely never going to box again, and he's come back from 2 or 3 surgeries, and yeah, like it's just he has a lot of ability, and I've maintained for years I think he beats Nick Ball, and when they made that fight in 2022, he would have beaten Nick Ball, and if they make that fight next, he will beat Nick Ball.
That's probably why he was so emotional after the fight, though.
Yeah, man, like what he's been through over the past year has been ridiculous, and a lot of people would have retired. And yeah, it's taken a lot for him to actually get back to this point. And when he's fit and firing like that, like he's a world level fighter. When he's fit and firing like that, and there's no issues outside the ring, he is a world level fighter, and he's showing that, and he will show that now. And yeah, I'm glazing, but I'm happy. I'm so happy for him, man. I'm glazing like that. Yeah, but yeah, such a good performance, man.
Yeah. Like lots of people called It's fight a 50-50 fight as well. Like we didn't, but like it's billed as a 50-50 fight. Like yeah, sure maybe like Lee McGregor's way past his best, but still like to do what he did there. I mean that was like really impressive. Like really impressive. Like, like even like 15 minutes after, did he just do that?
Yeah, man. Just the angles of the like it's there's a it takes a really high boxing IQ to be able to pivot like that off the front foot as you're countering. And when he gets in that rhythm to do that, and like that's where the knockdown sort of came from. He was pivoting off the front foot and pivoted around the front foot of McGregor, land those shots, and it was beautiful. And that to find that left hand that pretty much caused the first knockdown, sort of on the inside like that, is a beautiful shot, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were just dominant from the first bell, pretty much. No, McGregor had no answers. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, beautiful performance. But I am annoyed because I bet on him to win by stoppage in the second half. So I've had words with him about that. So. But anyway, yeah, Alloys Junior just battered David Jameson. Sort of expected this to happen. He looked really good. He's boxing a lot looser now. Like, there was a time where he was just sort of loading up on everything and trying to ice everyone with every shot, and like he's sort of leaving that behind a bit now. He's maturing as a fighter. But yeah, he looks good, man. He looks really good as a cruiserweight. I think he's gonna sort of the last 2 or 3 years we've had quite a lot of guys at cruiser that we've sort of hyped up a bit, sort of prospects coming through. Chev Clark, Vidal Riley. I think he might be the best of the bunch. Alois Jr. And he's young as well. He's like 22. He's younger than me, I think. He's how old is he? Yeah,
I think
he's 22. Yeah, he's
So that's
22, and he's big. He's strong. He punches hard. I think that loss to the Polish kid in his debut probably did him the world of good because it was a competitive fight. He only lost it by a point. And it's sort of, how the boxing public are like, oh, he lost on debut, he can't be any good. And sort of he's been building under the radar a little bit and sort of, hasn't had the hype because of that loss. Like if he was unbeaten, icing one of his journeymen like around or whatever, like there'd be a lot more hype. But like he's built up quietly, he's done a lot of work, he's been around the gyms, and he's looking really, really good now, man. I think there's a big future for him.
Yeah, I think that Berardi fight was really good for him. I think that's what has settled him down and made him stop loading up on everything.
Yeah.
I think.
Can't say the same for other fighters. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I think he's just ready. He's ready for a step up now. I don't know. Stick him in with.
Chef Clark.
Get him with Chef Clark. Why not?
Or Vidal Riley. Yeah. That Vidal Riley fight's a good fight.
He probably lose a wide decision to Riley.
I'm not sure he would.
I'm not high on Riley either. I just think Riley would be very negative and just offset everything.
Well, I think like he'd have a much harder time with Alois Jr. than he would against than he did against Chef Clark.
Chef Clark just shot
Yeah.
Because Chef Clark's just a bit of an idiot. He's not really. He's not smart about what he does with his work. Whereas Alois Jr. he seems to actually know what he's doing in the ring a bit. Actually sets up his work.
I think there is a rogue option, someone who's at cruiserweight now that nobody's talking about. Callum Johnson.
Yeah, I wonder why no one's talking about him.
Yeah, like he's back, and I know why nobody's talking about him. Like he's been fighting Journeyman, but he's back, and he's meant to fight Gulamari, and I don't know. I think that might be a decent little fight for him. People don't, yeah. Oh. And he's got that WBO ranking as well, Johnson. So yeah. There's fights for him. He's a good fighter. I know Junior. Um, what else happened on that show?
Do we even like talk about the fight that nothing happened really?
What fight?
Completely forgot their names.
Hughes and
Maxie Hughes versus Archie Sharp.
We'll get onto that. We'll get onto that. But what else happened with this? I think Aston Brown's biased resport. That was a decent win for it.
Resport. He looked like he'd never stepped foot in the ring.
Yeah.
Sorry to your Scottish roots, but he looked terrible.
How these guys get to 5-0? Like, look, at the end of the day, it was a Scottish area title fight, and if you're looking at all the quote unquote areas, the Scottish area level is by far the worst of them. I've seen some pretty terrible fighters win Scottish area titles. Jay McFarlane won a Scottish area title, to give that a bit of context. There's some pretty terrible fights at Scottish area level. Just being brutally honest about it. But yeah, Reece Lynch looked good. On there, and there was a couple of other kids on there. McCormack was on there. He's another advanced stage prospect that's still fighting Journeyman. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to Friday. We'll start with. We've had too much British for the past 20. We'll talk about Rene Calixto Bibiano losing a split decision to Garcia in their rematch for the IBF Super Flyweight title. These two aren't world level, like, at all.
No,
sorry. It was a fun swinging match, and they were throwing shots from everywhere, and it was what it was, and they were throwing a lot of shots, but they're not world level. It was a fun enough fight. I thought the cards were fair enough. It was a close fight, could have gone either way, but they are not world level. They're just not. They're not good enough.
I won. I thought Bibiano won. I mean, it was. I think it was like a better level than the first fight. I mean, like Garcia, Willie Baldo, he looked just terrible in the first fight. The way he throws punches and his footwork so terrible. I mean, he kind of settled down a bit, at least early. Then he kind of went back to what he does later. I mean, Bibiano, I think he realized he needed to move less, and they kind of like fall on the inside. I was like for skill-wise, I think it was better to watch than the first fight, but the first fight was, well, better entertainment-wise. Yeah. I think Bibiano is a better fighter to me, like much better fighter. But I guess I just like Willie Baldo's wide shots. I guess this come forward style.
It's gonna be really nasty to watch a Bam versus Willie Baldo Perez undisputed fight.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I hope it, but I would assume he would want to be undisputed, and he's already fighting Kafu, so it's not like Perez is gonna go and immediately fight someone at least good enough to make a Bam undisputed fight be entertaining to watch.
RG Cortez and Andrew Maloney are fighting a final eliminator. They both beat him. Kosei Tanaka's in the rankings. He beats him. Ioka beats him. Pima Martinez beats him. Kenshiro beats him. Ibuki beats him. That's one thing I haven't seen mentioned, by the way. if Ibuki wants to
Move
do a
up
little
again.
something, he's got that IBF belt. And if he wants to do a little something, he would take his head off.
He would take his face off.
Like, he is one of these champions in boxing. I think he is the worst champion in boxing, right now.
Oh yeah, it's
He's
not
one
even
of
close.
yeah. And there's these guys that they're just up for grabs, and he's going to get a astronomical payday in terms of super flyweight terms, to sell his belt, essentially.
I was gonna say, I hope he does get that check, and it is someone you said, like a Ioka or a Tanaka, to make the eventual undisputed fight with Bam be somewhat tolerable to watch. Because
Yeah.
imagine Bam versus Willie Baldo Perez.
It genuinely might not go 2 rounds.
If it would pass 3 rounds, we'd have to have some
Yeah.
discussions. So
Yeah.
you stop a good fighter in Guevara in 3, and you couldn't stop someone who's swinging punches from his ankles. Like,
Yeah. I just there's does Ricardo Malajica, like,
you can literally say any top 15 ranked
yeah.
super flyweight and they beat.
Sonny Edwards could probably come back and beat him.
Jesus Christ.
It's that bad, isn't it? Like,
He's not. He's just not good. He's very aggressive, but he doesn't. He's just nasty. I'm glad he gave us the first fight, which was pretty goddamn good, and then he'll be able to say he was a world champion. That's cool, especially with like his 5 losses. He probably thought it was pretty improbable that he'd be able to do that.
Someone who was dropped and comprehensively outboxed by Paul Butler about 4 years ago.
Yeah, like if you just told me that this fight, well, he just looks like some. He looks like he'd fight in a Mexican club show. That's how bad he is.
That's what it was, though.
He's a club fighter with a world title.
It was a Mexican club show.
This is a problem with, like, there's good and bad with the IBF rankings. Like, they stamp their foot on the rules, but then they put people who are just not good so high in the rankings. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Pretty terrible.
Like every other world champion in boxing, I could make a case that, sure, world level, cool, but not this guy. I wouldn't even bother. He's not world level, not even close to world level. Like, he'd lose at British level. Well, not British level because he's Mexican, but equivalent to British level.
Jack Turner's British level.
Yeah, but he's Mexican, so they just always be British people.
Yeah,
but that sort of level, just not a British guy. He'd lose to them. He's not good, but just not good at all.
He makes Eric Rosa look like a fantastic.
I'm kind of disappointed that he is the champion and not Bibiano, because Bibiano was just better.
He's also just not
good. He's better than Garcia though.
No, he's better at literally everything, but he's just not good either.
So. Alas, boxing does its thing. Give Ken Torres the shot. Just make him a world champion.
Look, let Oscar Coelho jump up 2 divisions. He beat this guy.
What is going on? Yeah. We'll move on to something that was somehow worse. On Friday night, Maxi Hughes against Archie Sharp. I only managed to watch 2 rounds before turning it off.
I somehow watched like 9.
Like, don't know what I was thinking. Picking Archie Sharp to win this fight. I thought I do know what I was thinking. I thought he'd actually try, and he just didn't. Yeah.
I would
Like
no longer like to see him in a boxing ring.
What's the point? Like, how can you hate on like a Williams goal when you see people doing that? Like RG Sharp, he did nothing. He actually just did nothing. Like nothing. What was the point? Like he's spent all that money for training camps, training to do that. Why? Like that's a good win. If you beat Maxi Hughes, that's a good win.
More than good. Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. He just came to do nothing.
He pulled a Charlie Edwards.
Yeah, he did do a Charlie Edwards pretty much. Oh, even Charlie Edwards did more than him.
Yeah,
It's worse than Charlie Edwards. Like it was like 10
it's not,
times worse.
It's not Charlie Edwards anymore.
It's 10 times worse than Charlie Edwards. That's how bad he was.
He's taking the crown. It's an Archie Sharp now. So now, when a fighter doesn't do anything in the ring for 12 rounds, 10, whatever, it's an Archie Sharp.
I turned it off in like the 8th round. And, well, he hadn't done anything then. I didn't watch the rest because, well, I didn't want to do that the next day. Just fuck off if you're going to do that shit. Pretty much, just fuck off. I don't want to see that. Stay out the ring, stay off my TV.
yeah, pretty much. I'm pleased for Maxi Hughes. Gets another win, gets another payday. On to the next one. He's been a real pros bro. Like he's been grinding for years, and like I hope he gets more money out of it. Like genuinely, like he's one of the good guys in British boxing, and he's actually like. It's very rare you see Maxi Hughes in a fight that, at least on paper, is somewhat compelling. And I know it wasn't on Friday because of Archie Sharp, but like
on paper it was.
Yeah, on paper it was a decent fight. And like even looking at like Archie Sharp, Gary Cuddy, Cepeda, Cambosos, Kid Galahad, Ryan Walsh, Straffon, Paul Hyland, that Ukrainian Kokochikov, who was on the MCK show, John O'Carroll, Liam Walsh, Kieran McLaren, Sam Bowen. Jesus Christ, Sam Bowen. The trilogy with Ward, like he's fought guys, man. Even Ronnie Clark back in the day, man. Jesus. Like Ronnie Clark in a 4-rounder, that's a decent fight. You know what I mean? Like he's been grinding his way through his career, and like I'm happy for him. He gets another win, keeps the ball rolling. He can go into another fight against whoever.
Yeah, because like he actually tried. I mean, he couldn't do much.
Yeah, he's a limited guy.
He had an idiot in front of him, but give him someone, I don't know. Bring Abdullayev over. He can fight Abdullayev. Sam Noakes. Yeah, Sam Noakes can get off prelims.
Yeah. Even Joe Cordina, if Cordina's moving up, that's a decent. Like, there's enough like British, European level guys like Maxi Hughes can fight, and like if you look Archie Sharp and Gary Cully, like if you get him one more win at that level, he's sort of in sort of the top 3 or 4 of a sanctioning body after that, definitely. Like just the way it works, like he lost the eliminator to Zebeda, and then is beating Cully and Sharp. But you get one more win at that level, you're back into an eliminator. Like if there's decent enough guys, yeah.
Get him the Zebeda rematch. He can win this time. He
Jesus.
can't. Get the Zepeda rematch.
Get the Cambosos rematch,
Mm.
and he can win again.
No, I don't want to see Campos in the ring.
Yeah, on this card as well, Reese Mulder, Louis Sylvester was a fun fight. Sylvester won a split. I thought he won it pretty clearly enough. That was a fun little fight at lightweight. And yeah, Jimmy Joe Flint lost. He had his shoulder popped out and then just got beaten up by Nunez. He didn't get beaten up. He just got sort of walked down and outworked by Nunez. Flint's the kid that beat
Come on.
Campbell Patton twice. So yeah, there's a couple of decent fights on GBM shows as per. But yeah, not the highest in levels, but they're fun enough.
I wouldn't mind seeing the rematch, to be honest. They might actually do that, to be honest. Let it shoulder heal.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Yeah. I'd watch it. I don't think I've missed anything else from last weekend.
Well, like I shit on the zone a lot, but they have a lot of shows. They show a lot of shows. Like there's so many more. Like if you combine the number of shows everyone else puts on, they would have more.
Yeah.
Whenever I do the schedule, it's always like this. If it's a good week, there's always like at least 2 DAZN cards. Like the GBM card was on DAZN. The Queensberry show was on DAZN. The top tier card last night was on DAZN.
Yeah.
They're picking up the Wednesday's card. Gallegos.
Yeah.
This week.
Back to Bully as well.
Yeah. Falcon versus Malakuziev is on DAZN. They have so many cards. So fair enough. Like you're all idiots and I hate you, but you put on a lot of cards, so shout out to you.
Yeah. We'll talk about Wednesday's card now. Yeah, we'll start off the main event because that's probably the least compelling fight on the show. Really. Isshiki Sakai against Yotapong Tongde for the WBO bantamweight title. We all know about Sakai, but Tongde, he's had a lot of time matchmaking. He was a decent amateur, international amateur, appeared at a few tournaments. But it's just like I think he's a lot smaller than Sakai. Just looking at them. Yeah, he's got skills, but he can't punch that much, really. Like, if you look at his actual fights and not the Thai fights, like, I don't think he can punch that hard.
And if there's anything Takei can do.
Yeah, I think Tongdi gives him a few troubles in the first sort of 3 or 4, but then Takai is just too big, too strong, too powerful, too athletic, and ultimately gets him out of there sort of mid to late. Being honest, I don't really think it's an intriguing fight. I get why Takai's taking it. He's had 2 tough fights in a row, Maloney and Higa, both pretty grueling fights. But yeah, it's not a fight that really intrigues me.
Yeah, I don't want to rule someone out that I don't know much about because I completely ruled out Sharon Fack and he gave a Kuya. Like, crazy fight. Crazy tough fight. But I mean, look.
I will be ruling him out this time.
I'm going to rule him out. And TK's getting a knockout. He's going to be back among the knockouts. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been over a year. Yeah.
Like, he hit so hard. But I mean, he's been fighting. He has been fighting tough fights. And he is limited, I guess. He last guy knocked out was Maldonado. That's right. Yeah, like it's not a good fight, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. He'll be back in the mix. He'll be back in like a decent fight soon enough. It's Japan; they always stick him in. But yeah, there's one sort of domestic title fight in this card, the Japanese title. Yunahara is rematching Naraya. Naraya's got a stoppage win over him already. He's coming off a fight that he lost against Watanabe, but he got the decision in on the Inoue undercard. But yeah, that'll be a decent enough fight. They always are. But I expect Naraya to come through that pretty comfortably. Naraya dominate the first fight, and I think he will again here. But yeah, the fight that I think really is the main event of this show, the fight that people are talking about the most, it's most competitive. It's for the IBF Super Featherweight title, the vacant title that Anthony Kachi vacated. Eduardo Nunez against Masanori Rikiishi. I really, really like this fight. Both can punch, both pretty vulnerable, I'd say. I'd say Rikishi's more vulnerable. It's a nice clash of styles as well, and I really, really like the fight. And I think someone's going to win, but I'm really, really not sure. It's a really, really good fight, man. It's a really good fight.
We will be cheerleading for a certain Japanese fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. The main issue in this fight for me is Rikishi's defense and, well, lack of defense because it doesn't exist against a puncher like Nunez. I think I favor, and that's why I favor Nunez. I think Rikishi's just way too defensively leaky, to be honest.
Yeah, he fights. Just think of like a less active Yabuki. That's pretty much Rikishi. Doesn't throw as many punches.
And the southpaw.
And a southpaw.
Yeah.
He's good at fighting along. Obviously, he's very reactionary, like his brother. Anytime, like his opponent lets a punch go, he'll react, try and counter it. And his combinations are like really good when he lets them go. And he hits very hard, doesn't he? He hasn't. He hasn't made 130 since the Magnetti fight, which isn't great. Especially he's going to have the IBF next day thing, isn't he, as well? That's not good.
Yeah.
But, even Nunez, he hasn't made 130 since...
It's pretty nice.
Rakhimov, isn't it?
I think he had one after that.
Yeah, Mariota.
Mariota.
But he was 1-3-3 for that fight. It was Mariota.
Yeah. They've both been pretty inactive. They haven't fought in a while, and they haven't made 130 in a while. But
Rikishi,
all that offsets and then Nunez's power. Really.
Rikishi had the knockover job in October, didn't he? As well.
Yeah, he was like 134 in that fight.
Yeah. There is a scenario. I think Magnesi's a pretty underrated fighter. I think Magnesi has a very, very good style for getting on the inside. I think he has quick feet, and I think his feet are quicker than Nunez. And there is a scenario where Nunez just gets caught on sort of mid to long range with Rikishi throwing really, really long straight shots and just getting countered. Because I don't think Nunez is this sort of killer that everyone's saying he is. I think he's a very good fighter, but I don't think he's some killer. And I think there is a scenario where Rikishi has a lot of success just keeping on the end of long straight shots because I don't think his feet are that quick.
Do you mean those certain accounts?
Yeah. That aren't even watching because it's not a certain promoter's show, but we wish him well.
Yeah.
So with Nunez, he fights really small, and like he hides his chin very well, but that does leave him open for uppercuts, and that is a punch that who did Rikiishi stop with that punch? I can't
Nunez,
remember.
wasn't it? Nunez.
It was a Japanese fella. I can't remember, but he stopped him with an uppercut.
Kimura.
Probably, yeah.
Might be Kimura.
Yeah, it was Kimura.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, because Nunez was the body shot, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, like he's open for that, and he can get caught long range. Like Nunez, he's pretty patient, which is surprising. Like you wouldn't think he's patient, and there are a lot of power punches. They just fall in love with their power. I mean, he doesn't really seem to do that. Like he has good variation, and he actually goes to the body. Which I mean, that's a big target on Rikiishi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, if Nunez gets on the inside, he's winning.
Yeah.
Rikiishi can't fight on the inside. And and unlike Yabuki, like Rikishi, he likes to like pour and do the fencing battles and not actually commit to his jab. Like he needs to commit to his jab. He needs to stick out a hard jab and keep Nunez at bay. None of that stupid fencing shit. That's not gonna work against Nunez. He'll just get inside easy. Like, I mean, like Nunez, he spent like the first like 4 rounds kind of fighting off the back foot, and he was reasonably effective. Like he's not going to win the fight on the back foot, but if he gets in trouble, I guess at least he can do it and like recoup, which is always good. I mean, it's just a good fight. Like I favor Nunez, probably body shot stoppage, but I can see Rikishi just catching him with like a right hook coming in, dropping him, and then like a combination again, putting him down. Like body shot, headshot combination that you just like might not be able to get off from. I mean, I don't see it going the distance.
No.
Yep. I think someone's getting chinned.
Someone's getting chinned.
Someone's getting chin. Usually punches, it doesn't go past 6, but I do think this one's going to go past 6.
It's gonna go around like 10.
Yeah, because I mean they're both pretty patient, especially early. I mean, Nunez was very patient against Rakimov. Then he like really heated up in the second half.
Yeah, poured it on.
Right, maybe that was just him pacing himself because I mean that was like his first 12 rounder, but if he starts like he did against Rakimov in that second half, it's going to be a tough night for Rikiishi.
Then again, we don't know if he can maintain it. If Rikiishi can get through that, like that's one thing about Rikiishi. He's got poor defense, but he can take a lot of shots. Like the Magnesi fight, he took a hell of a lot. I know it's different with Nunez. Like obviously Nunez hits a lot harder, but I think he's pretty durable. But yeah, I just think Nunez is just hits way too hard, and Rikishi's defense is way too leaky. Yeah, I favor Nunez.
I think the fact that he hasn't made 130 in so long, and I think with the next day, what is it 140? Is it only £10 for super featherweight?
Yeah, it's £10 for super featherweight.
Yeah, that really favors Nunez. Because Rikishi's a big guy. Like, I watched his last fight and he looked really strong, but obviously that was a lightweight.
Yeah. And like some of the pictures we've seen, like he's cutting a lot already. I don't know. I give Rikishi a big chance. I think Nunez is going to win this fight. But if we're sat here in a couple of days' time talking about Nunez being knocked out by an uppercut, I wouldn't be surprised. It's
Alright,
that type
okay.
of fight. It's a really good fight. It's a really, really good fight.
I think I've like 60-40 in Nunez's favor. I think
Yeah, probably about
for
that.
me.
That's about right.
Like obviously, like I thought people were overrating Nunez, but like obviously beating Rikiishi is gonna doesn't make you like oh well beat him, but like it would go some way to proving all this hype right. Rikishi's good.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing beating past their best bracket off, but then beating Rikiishi, who's might be in his prime.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. It's a good fight. It'll be fun. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple of days' time. There's a lot of boxing over the weekend. Taylor Plant's back. One of the Charlos back. There's a couple of good fights at super middleweight. But yeah, we'll be back soon, and thank you for listening.
See you in episode 59.